What's going on, America? It's Kevin from Kevin's Corner. I'm back. And I'm going to try to make some sense out of this nonsense. Now, unless you've been living under a rock somewhere, even if you're from another country, you probably have now heard of the case that took place in Minneapolis with the man that was killed by the police officer. Now, I understand. People are upset. I'm upset. I didn't like watching that. Now, what I would be doing if I were them is saying, well, let's see the initial reaction from authority and from, people, even people who are pro-police are saying, I support the cops, but I don't support that. You have cops saying, I'm a cop and I don't support what that man just did. It would be one thing if it appeared that there was some question, or maybe perhaps it appears that these men aren't going to be held accountable. Even though the prosecutor is talking reckless about, I just need to make sure everything. Trust me, these men are going to be held accountable based off of the fact that they're saying, if we don't do something and do it fast, the whole city will burn. Now, that's not the reason why you should prosecute people to try to stop your city from being burned and rioted. But nonetheless, when you obviously see a case like that, you might want to move a little more quickly with a little sense of alacrity. That's all I'm saying. So when you see this, what is your response, people? Let's listen to what their response has been.
With breaking news.
Breaking overnight and into the early morning, the riots meant to bring justice to George Floyd's death have left another person shot and killed while chaos reigns over the city.
Jason, we have seen a whole lot of fires, violence, rioting. Okay. We will let you know and show you what we've been following overnight.
We are so glad that you are watching us here on WCCO, also streaming on CBSN Minnesota, but a dark morning for this state, for this city. The last 12 hours of protests for George Floyd have made a chaotic turn, and this morning several parts of the city are on fire. It's happening right now. Feels like the anger is only growing. Protests have turned from very peaceful to very panicked and violent as riots in the city escalate. Breaking overnight, we learned at least one person has been killed during the riots. Police say he was found shot lying on the sidewalk of Lake Street.
Now, you know what the problem is with chaos? People exploit it. See, you have people that would do things as a result of this man being killed for selfish reasons. Things they wouldn't normally do in a peaceful time. I mean, for all we know, the guy that got shot could have been somebody who they like, dude, I've been wanting to shoot this dude forever. Why not just go ahead and take advantage of all these people running around and no supervision? The cops scared. The cops are standing on the outskirts saying, you know what, let's do this. Let's set a perimeter up and keep all of them contained to their own area, their own property, places that they go and frequent all the time. Let them tear up their own joint. Let them tear up their stuff. That's like having your kid throw a temper tantrum in their room with all of their toys that they like to play with and enjoy. And the kid decides, I'm mad because you won't let me go outside, so I'm going to start breaking my model airplane, go and grab my G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip, rip his arms off. I'm going to go ahead and get my Rock'em Sock'em Robot, storm out the window. And you just close the door and say, okay, I'm going to let this kid stand there and tear up all their stuff. And then when they're done, they're going to feel dumb. They're going to be done and say, now, mama, can you get me some more toys? And I'm like, well, why? Why would I want to do that? You tore up your own stuff because you was mad. You didn't handle it maturely. And you know what bothers me about listening to this? Now another life is gone for whatever reason. Not to mention, when you look at what they've done, they now burned down the 3rd precinct. They done invaded the darn police station and burned that down. And I'm thinking, guys, who's doing this? Usually after all the smoke clears and the riots stop and it's all, subsides, they go back and start looking. They start looking on cameras like the guys who beat up the dude during the Rodney King riots, and they, oh, well, you know what? It's chaotic. Let's drag this white man out the truck and beat him half to death. Then afterwards, when the guy's in the coma and all this stuff, they go back and review the film. Okay, let's go ahead and get this angle. Let's go ahead and get this video over. They didn't even know this video was here. And then they find these knuckleheads. That's what happens. So here they are thinking they can blend in with the crowd, and they're not doing it for the right motive. You're not honoring this man by going around and burning stuff down and tearing up stuff and breaking windows out, people getting shot and stabbed, looting, robbing, stealing, and all of that stuff. You're not honoring this man. What you're doing is disgracing not only him, but also. Now, I'm going to have to talk to the black people on this one, y'all. Because black people are proudful people. We don't like to look bad. We don't, sensible, reasonable citizens, black citizens, do not like it when a group of black people do things to reinforce some of the negative stereotypes that we've worked very hard over the years to overcome and break. Not to say people should have stereotypes at all, but nonetheless, sometimes groups of people create legitimate stereotypes that have to be broken by others. And it ain't just with black people. There are some groups of people in almost every culture that will create some negative stereotypes and act a fool, where the other ones have to say, no, that's not us. That's not us. But this is something I noticed that burned me up as I watched these knuckleheads running around the city, throwing up gang signs in front of the news, throwing stuff all through windows and at police cars, and going in and looting and robbing. They're not even at the place where all of the peaceful protesters are at. They done sprouted out and said, well, you know what? Forget that. We get back with them later. Let's go loot. Now, when I see them doing this, you know what burns me up about it? I can't think of any other race of people in America. Now, I look at us all as Americans, but we're all different races. Let's be honest. What race in America that's ever suffered oppression for whatever reason and decided, as a result of this oppression, let us throw a complete fit and start tearing up our own neighborhood? If we go to New York, where the biggest Jewish population is, and they feel like they have been abused or taken advantage of, or some racial stuff was against them, do you think they would go off and start tearing up all the stuff that they worked hard to build, and what supplies their basic needs, the stores that they go to, and all of the stuff that they do? You know, here I am growing up in Youngstown, guy right around the corner, Mr. Knight, black guy who owned a business. He would help us out when we have money, stuff like that. That would be like us going and saying, you know what, the guy who supplies stuff to us in our neighborhood, so we don't have to be whining about, well, we can't even get over to the other store, Kroger's and Giant Eagle, they too far away, I can't even get to. Well, you just went and tore up the place that's right around the corner. Then when you all calm down and say, well, I need some bread now, you can't get it. You got to take a bus and 7 transfers to get the bread, because you, in the midst of a immature, emotional, selfish outburst, decided, well, you know what? Ain't nobody looking and it's chaotic. Let's break in and steal all this stuff. It's a temporary fix. That's all it is. And the other thing that makes me mad is that when you look at the cops and how they're handling this, I saw the police chief get on there, and I'm going to wrap it up with this. Oh, this burns me up. I saw the police chief says, well, we're trying to make sure that our police are safe, and that's why we poured them out. No, that's not why you poured them out, okay? You're not just looking out for the police. What you're saying is, you know what? This property in this area, it hasn't bled over to certain areas outside of their normal environment that they all rolling around in over there. Let that stuff start moving out to some of the suburbs and some of the major business districts, and you'll see those rubber bullets turn to real bullets. Now, how do I know this? I lived through some riots in Cincinnati when a young man was shot running from the cops unarmed. And folks started rioting, and all they did is set up a perimeter just like this and said, long as y'all rioting in your own area, tearing up your stuff, it's cool. They brought in the National Guard and switched those rubber bullets to real bullets and put a perimeter right before you start going into the more rich district and saying, now y'all come up in here, it's going to be a whole different story. We'll let you act a fool and tear up your own stuff. And that's what bothered me. I said, you know what, y'all don't even realize it. They just pretty much cage y'all off like animals. And you're not, but you're acting like that. And that's what makes me upset. The second reason why he didn't pull the cops out so he can make sure his cops were safe is because he's looking at y'all like, you know what? They're so out of control right now. I'm not pulling these cops off. Now, I might tell y'all that. I'm pulling them out because I want to keep my officers safe and it's volatile in there. No, what would happen is if he went in there with the police and did what they're supposed to do when people riot, steal, loot, and tear up stuff because they mad and can't get their way. See, that's not protesting, man. You done crossed over from peaceful protester to criminal. Now, if he would have sent the cops in to deal with them like criminals, most likely one of those knuckleheads is going to end up in the same situation as George. Because when you go in there to stop that type of behavior, you ain't going in there to say, come on, man, just stop, man. Put the bottle down, man. Don't break. Why are you going in there stealing stuff? You got to go in there and you got to get physical. And you know what's going to happen. See, here we go again. While you in there stealing a cash register or something, and you going to get mad at the cops, get off me and this and that, and get choked out, and then it's going to be racism, and other cops are going to be on the bubble, on the line for defending themselves and a real legitimate reason to put their hands on you. Because for whatever reason, you want to decide to tear up the neighborhood, steal, and loot. If I'm a cop, I'm going, hey, Captain, it's already a volatile situation with the race tensions and stuff, man. You want us to go in there and start grabbing these folks that's stealing and looting and, you know, taking them in paddy wagons? That's putting me in a situation. Because what happens when an elbow hits me in the eye? What happens when a bottle hits me in the head while I'm trying to make an arrest? What happens then? Do you want me to just be a victim and get beaten because I don't want to appear to be too aggressive? Or should I go, okay, see, now I have to go into, I got to defend myself and use real force that's legit in this application, because y'all wouldn't wait for the authorities to deal with these police officers that use unnecessary force in the other application. People, they have to think, and they're not doing that right now. And it's a shame. And I cannot stand the fact that liberal media stations are sitting back supporting this type, calling it the behavior, calling it protesting, and saying, well, you know, when white people protest with guns and stuff, the cops don't do anything. The white people weren't shooting out windows, tearing up stuff, burning down stuff. They were standing there exercising the First and Second Amendment rights. Nobody got shot. Nothing got burned down. So what are you talking about? Unless you want to just continue to make tension between the cops and the people and push race. Do you want a race war? Is that what you want, liberal media? Is that what you want, CNN, MSNBC? When you get on there and you try to make it seem like it's totally different the way these cops handle white people versus black people when they're protesting and all of that stuff, knowing that it's a totally different environment and behavior. That's what you want. You just want to go. That y'all might as well come out and say it. The liberal media might as well just get up there. We want to see y'all fight. That's all. I'm cut through the chase. Forget all the, innuendos and I'm just gonna tell you, I want to see y'all fight. That's what I want to see. That's what they might as well say, because that's what they're doing when they continue pushing this stuff without calling this out for what it is. You recognize wrong when it's wrong. What those cops did was wrong, and they should pay a major price. But what y'all are doing by tearing up your own neighborhood and anybody's neighborhood and property is wrong. And if you have to pay a price, don't whine and say, it's because I'm black and I was just mad, exercising all my anger by robbing, stealing, looting, and burning stuff. And to make me feel like, we done redeemed, George, and we done made feel better about this on the inside. No, you should feel dumb. Now, you've been listening to Kevin and Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. Normally, I keep my cool. But watching that, it's hard to keep my cool. God bless y'all. Don't forget, check me out every Wednesday night, 7:30 live at Kevin's Corner on Facebook, YouTube, and my radio blog talk show. Hit like, share, subscribe, notification. Make sure you're still subscribed and your notifications are set to all. Check out Extreme Teas, my sponsor. If you like the products, click on something on the link below and put Kevin in a promo code. You get a 20% discount. Want to donate to Kevin and Kevin's Corner? Feel free. There's a link below too to do that. And you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. God bless. See you next time in Kevin's Corner. And I better not see y'all on none of those videos tonight down there running out with a TV on your shoulder talking about, oh, you getting this on camera? Blur my face out. No, I don't want to see y'all doing that. God bless. Take care.